in another authoritarian move to once again prove that he is not on the side of the people, nor does he care about any humanitarian effort, Trump decided to veto the bill to end war in Yemen and stop supporting the Saudi Arabian assault on the Yemeni people. This is inexplicable. I mean, this is the guy who ran on staying out of interventionist wars, right? This is the guy who ran on putting America first. This is the man who said that he would stand up to the elite, that he would drain the swamp, etc., etc., etc. And he's done nothing of the sort. It seems as if, honestly, he's strengthened his relationship with corrupt regimes like the Netanyahu regime, the Bibi, some of y'all know him as that. Strengthening support with Saudi Arabia. Like, what the hell? Not only has he strengthened support of Saudi Arabia, but the man is damn near celebrating them all over his Twitter half the time. It's ridiculous. But what's even more ridiculous is this pathetic excuse for a defense. He wrote a letter, and this is from the office of the press secretary. This man said in the letter, "I am returning herewith without my approval for SJ Resolution 7, a joint resolution that purports to direct the president to remove the United States Armed Forces from hostilities in or affecting the Republic of Yemen, with certain exceptions. This resolution is an unnecessary, dangerous attempt to weaken my constitutional authorities, endangering the lives of American citizens and brave service members, both today and in the future." Hold up. Did I read that correctly? I'm sorry if the letter is kind of blurry. That's the best copy we could get. But I know that it may be blurry to y'all, but if you do have it, and you want to go back and look at it, make sure I read that correctly. Did this man really say, so stopping the support of Saudi Arabia, destroying Yemen, like by stopping the support of that, you consider this an attempt to weaken your constitutional authorities? So I want to help you all understand something. This is literally a resolution to just invoke the War Powers Act, which dictates the exact amount of constitutional authority the president has in these situations, and also the exact amount of congressional authority that the House and the Senate has in these situations. So the House has decided, you know what? This needs to stop. We have to take a stand here. And by the way, this was a joint effort. And by the way, this also wasn't just the House this time. The Senate actually did something similar to this in their before the 2018 midterms, which with bipartisan approval. So you have bipartisan approval in the House, bipartisan approval in the Senate. It's a joint resolution. The Senate dominated by Republicans, House dominated by Democrats. Both of them are saying, you don't have the authority to continue to do this, so we are going to exercise ours. And this man has the unmitigated gall to say, you're trying to weaken my constitutional authority? No, they're trying to remind you of your constitutional authority or lack thereof in these particular situations. And it's sickening to me how this man he was pretending to be different than Obama, different than Bush, that he was going to be a constitutionalist rather than constantly undermining the Constitution. Remember what he said about Obama and DACA? Now, DACA, in my opinion, did not go far enough at all. I think it was an attempt to distract away from the fact that Obama was truly deporter in chief. He deported more undocumented immigrants than anybody else in history at that point. However, Trump's biggest complaint about DACA was that Obama was using authority that was not his to use. And that was the complaint about DACA the whole time he was trying to sell it to the American people about him repealing DACA. So now, all of a sudden, that don't matter anymore, and Trump gets to use his pen and quote unquote executive authority to do what the hell he wants to? Come on. If you're a constitutionalist, if you're in support of a representative democracy and checks and balances, you can't support this, man. You cannot. Endangering the lives of American citizens. You know what endangers the lives of American citizens? Whenever people in certain regions view American citizens as a threat because of our sociopathic leaders, and then become radicalized in whatever way they decide to become radicalized, and then attack American citizens, and then attack other citizens that America supports because of the decisions that our leaders make. That's what endangers the lives of citizens and service members. And for the love of God, Trump, stop using us for your political games. And by us, I mean veterans. Stop it. We want no part of it. Most of us don't believe in you. Most of us don't support you. Most of us have seen that you have been not much different than anybody else before you. So stop trying to pretend that you're doing us a favor by murdering Yemeni people. Unfortunately, the odds of us seeing this overturned is very low. In the Senate, it's 56-41. And so just based off of that, it requires a 2/3 majority by both the House and the Senate in order for a veto from the president to get overturned. Because they did not get a 2/3 majority in the Senate for this bill, it is highly unlikely, or for this resolution, excuse me, it is highly unlikely that they'll be able to get it in both the House and the Senate, because, well, some Republicans, well, one, they're taking a lot of oil money, so there's that. But two, they don't want to stand up to Trump. They're worried that it could possibly affect the outcome of their elections, and unfortunately, they have a right to feel that way because Trump raised $30 million without even trying for the first quarter for his reelection campaign, without even trying. So he's still popular. And in the states that a lot of these Republicans got elected in, he's still popular. It's scary, but it's true. But it's more so than anything else regarding this particular subject. It's unfortunate because now more Yemeni people would die at the hands of our weapons, at the hands of our finances. I wrote a tweet earlier that said, Trump said, we have to overthrow Maduro because we care about the Venezuelan people. And Trump, at the same time, with this vote, also said, fuck the Yemeni people. After he just tried to sell us the crock of lies that he was going to Venezuela or wanted to overthrow Maduro and inject Guaido and his regime into the government because he was so concerned. It was a humanitarian effort and we were giving humanitarian aid. Remember all that? Remember Marco Rubio somehow ends up in Colombia standing next to a bunch of shipments of supplies that, according to Abby Martin, who was on the ground in Venezuela, she said those were the supplies that Venezuela was already supposed to have, but were intercepted at the command of the United States. And then, of course, we've been initiating sanctions on Venezuela as well. And sanctions never hurt anybody but the people. Even Tulsi Gabbard knows this. So the hypocrisy, like if people can't see this, mind you, I doubt that this will be all over the news, by the way. I doubt this Yemeni vote or this Yemen vote will be all over the news. They'll cover it for a second and then move on to presidential candidates that aren't going to do anything for the people. Speaking of Tulsi Gabbard, She did a video to accompany this, but I'm just going to cover the tweet in this particular video. She said, by vetoing War Powers Act, Trump again proves he's a servant of Saudi Arabia and the theocratic dictatorship, spending billions, spreading the most extreme and intolerant form of Islam around the world, supporting Al-Qaeda and other jihadists, and waging a genocidal war on Yemen with the United States' help. 100% true. Saudi Arabia, if anybody, I mean, you can ask anybody, basically, who is a Muslim. Saudi Arabia is its representative of Islam and Muslim people in general, as our current sitting president in this administration is representative of Christianity. They pervert it and decide to use the most dangerous, the most antiquated aspects of it to govern and make decisions. Just like our government does, especially when the Tea Party is in charge like it is now. I thought that Trump he just hates Sharia law. It's funny because as Trump consistently and continuously demonizes Muslims, the country that is least representative of Muslims as a whole, that is the most extreme rebellious aspects of Islam. When I say rebellious, I mean rebellious to evolution and modernization. That's the country he wants to support. That's the regime, literally a dictatorship, a royal family that has even been known to provide terrorists at our behest, like Osama bin Laden and Al-Qaeda. Osama was Saudi Arabian, part of the royal family. We trained him, CIA did. Trump seems to be okay with them, though. He won't go after, that's why I said, that's what a bully looks like, right? He'll go after Ilhan Omar, a freshman congresswoman who is constantly having to stay on her toes and now has a target on her back. And he'll go after her for 9/11 nonetheless. And at the same exact time, defend and even really propagate Saudi Arabia and their war on Yemen by vetoing this legislation. Mind you, once again, Saudi Arabia, or Saudi Arabians, I should say, that are connected to the royal family, specifically, are in court right now, federal court, for what happened in 9/11. We know Osama bin Laden was part of the Saudi Arabian royal family, and outside of that one case that it's publicly open, but the public doesn't know about it, it wasn't covered to any significant extent. Saudi Arabia has never been thoroughly investigated for what happened in 9/11. Mike Gravel called for an open investigation as well. And yet you're going to try to link Ilhan Omar to this, but then bend over to Saudi Arabia regularly. We were in Afghanistan. What were we doing in Afghanistan, destroying their entire damn populations in cities and in areas, but never questioning Saudi Arabia. And this guy is the one who's supposed to be the mouthpiece for conservatives who are all about putting America first. Come on. I also put out another tweet earlier where I said, I'm sure that Trump bending the knee to Saudi Arabia and assisting the decimation of the Yemeni people is also part of Q's plan, right? And what a joke, because it is. When it's time to get this man out of office. Of course, you know me, I'm not saying vote for anybody. You vote your conscience. But it's time to get this man out of office. And that means, in my opinion, we need to be campaigning harder and smarter for progressives. Because Trump is still, unfortunately, extremely popular. But this ain't it. If you're still trying to say that QAnon is on your side, or it's not that people don't believe QAnon is real. Oh, we know he's real, or we know it is real, or they are real, wherever the hell he claims to be. That's not the complaint, but it's a psyop. It's to keep you on Trump's side no matter what he does wrong. Period. It's the intelligence community using people's desperation and sometimes their ignorance and their hope against them. Think about it. Was Chelsea Manning getting tortured part of the plan too? Julian Assange ending up in Great Britain's version of Guantanamo Bay, was that part of the plan as well? Trump throwing Assange under the bus? A sealed indictment? Was that also part of the plan? Hiding how many people were surged or how many soldiers and military members have been surged into Syria? Like writing an executive order to hide how many people we have in Syria. Was that part of the plan? And is the continuation of bombing Yemen or allowing Saudi Arabia to use our weapons, our resources to destroy Yemen, is that part of the plan too? And then the Venezuelan coup, is that also part of the plan? This plan sucks. If that's part of the plan sucks. It does. Bad. Really, really bad. I'm just tired of it, man. We have to get this guy out of office. And I really, truly hope that people wake up and realize he's not dangerous because of some of the stupid stuff he says. Yeah, that's part of the reason. But this stuff, the policies are why he is dangerous. Because it's not because it's Donald Trump specifically, but because he is marching in lockstep with the GOP neoconservative establishment, the Tea Party establishment. Now, leave you with this. Tulsi Gabbard, once again, said it better than basically any other politician in the world or in this race. Putting America first isn't being Saudi Arabia's bitch. And she couldn't have said it any better than that. When are you going to start putting America first? And when are you going to start keeping up with some of your campaign promises? The only promise that you've kept up with is the ones where you just get to demonize who you feel like your base would agree with you demonizing. And that's about it. You haven't done anything for the people. Cut back Medicaid, cut back Medicare. War, bombs. Let's get this man out of office. Thanks for watching that segment of Mika Says Sukasa. Don't forget to join us on Roku and catch our Roku exclusives. Also, help us reach our goal of 500 patrons on Patreon. You can also follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and JustNForm.com. But more than anything else, always remember, find your balance. Peace.